practical spirituality. Meaning, I like to look at what's happening in life, in the life of the people I love in my community, and look and see how spiritual principles relate to that. Because to relegate our spiritual lives to a particular book or a particular time in our day when we meditate, or a particular, we don't, if it just isn't applicable to everything that we're going through, then it has very little use for us, right? A spiritual foundation, the energy of our being a soul. So basically, we believe here that we are each and every one of us souls sent to the earth by Mother, Father, God to learn, to evolve, and to grow, and to remember that we are one with all that is. And everyone here, everyone on the planet is also a spirit incarnate. That's basically it. And so that's my sort of intro to a little bit of a challenging subject, because it's Easter and you think we're going to talk about bunnies and eggs and light and
chocolate,
all that sort of thing.
I come home yesterday and my granddaughter and Trish are like chocolate all over their face and whipped cream all over their faces. Well, not totally over their faces, but
Taylor, really, did we have chocolate on our face?
I don't know, Tay-Tay, but anyway. So add chocolate strawberries.
We made a strawberry shortcake for Sean. But anyway, that's practical spirituality. Well, maybe we will keep it light. It's just that when I look around, I see so many of us in one way or another going through the initiate's process of crucifixion. But remember, it's getting ready for the resurrection. And, you know, the reason I want to bring this up, well, because purification and getting ready for mastery isn't walking into a room of light and the Holy One's turning on this great machine that was created, you know, and you sit in the machine and it changes your atoms, and then all of a sudden you walk out and you're illumined. The way it works is every aspect of our day is created to bring forward, to help us tap into our innate strength and the love and the joy, everything. So we had a really challenging situation come up in our community on Thursday. And it affected me very deeply because I love the people involved. And I want to share it with you. This is where it gets a little challenging. But what happened was that a dear friend of ours walked into his front yard, had an altercation with a neighbor, and died. He was killed. He was shot and instantly killed. Yeah. And the reason I want to bring this up, okay, now this man, his name is John Upton, and I want you to Google him, because John, to me, he was no ordinary man. John was a New Yorker, and John was passionate, and he had that what do I say? He was in tune with his energy, you know, and he used it. And one of the things he's really well known for is he went over to Romania. I guess it's about 20 years now, 23 years, 4 years, and he saw orphans being treated terribly, or he heard about them. And he said, I'm going to go over and do something about it. And he hopped on a plane, and he did. And it was so inspiring, not only how he showed how the orphans were living, but how he changed the lives of so many people. And 2020 got a hold of it, and so you can Google it, John Upton. And he just continued. When he saw something that really touched his heart, he did something about it. He did something about it. A year ago, it was actually a year ago now, John, a little over a year ago, John came to us, and he really loved what we're doing here. And he said, I want to give you my energy. I want to support you. This is what I do. I support people who I feel are doing good things. And so we had a whole bunch of meetings with him, and we fell in love with, like I said, he had a can-do spirit. And he said, you get your vision, I'll get behind you. And we didn't quite, and we're still honing. So we had to tell John, you know, we're not quite ready, but when we are, we want you on our team. And so he found out Tom and I were moving, and we were going to get movers and stuff. And John said, don't do that. I'll come over. Evelyn will come over. Bailey will come over. Neil will come over. Will and Marcia will move you. And guess what they did? Hauled all my crystals, all my clothes, all my books. It was that kind of, let's do it. Come on, we can do this together. And so, you know, but that energy that made him rock the world, anything put his consciousness on, he was able to transform. That same energy possibly got him in a little trouble on Thursday. You know, because emotion can run both ways, right? And so I don't know exactly what happened, but I do know that the neighbor took his life during the altercation. Now, I'm bringing this up, well, first of all, because I want to say publicly, I've been thinking so much about him, and I just want to publicly, John, because I know he's here with us, I love you. I love your spirit, and you know what? I really miss you. I really miss having you on this planet. And your spirit has embedded itself in my heart, so thank you. I'm going to take that can-do, anything I put my mind to spirit, and bring it into my life. But I also, as yogis and initiates, I want to look at it because it's really easy to look at that situation and say, oh no, John's gone, oh no, his spiritual life is ended. It hasn't. It hasn't. Let's play, now I'm not saying I'm not his spiritual teachers or that sort of thing, but I thought deeply about what's in this situation for John, for his life to be cut like that. And if we think it's such a great example of soul learning, because let's say we have all this powerful energy that John had, but once in a while we misuse it. We're like a loose cannon. You know, we don't have the control over it, but we're going toward mastery. So maybe our energy is not controlled one morning, and I do believe that John is he's not a newbie on the path. So he goes out that morning and his energy is not in control. And he's not in control of the words that he's saying. And he may have, and I don't know, but let's just, knowing John, he may have said something that might have invoked anger in someone who wasn't balanced. Now, John passes from the body. His soul takes the memory, takes that experience of, oh wow, if I let this tremendous energy that I have that is working with me for my mastery, if it's not channeled, or if I'm not disciplined with my energy, with the yogis, that's what we learn, right? To be disciplined with our energy. Then my mission or my earth life can be halted. His soul is taking, think about it, all the lessons and then he's going, I got it. Next time, I'll learn to express myself a little more clearly, but with that peace, maybe. You know, in other words, what I'm saying is, the truth is, as horrid as that day is for those of us who are left behind, his soul, and this is the main point, his soul just took a giant leap in evolution. It learned, it has. That's what our school looks like here on this earth. You know, it's not passing out papers, hoping you memorized all the answers, and then sometimes you have a yes or a no, so you have a 50-50 chance of guessing the right answer. That's not what school's like on this plane. You know, another one of our community members was not taking care of herself, and her family, and she was having her initiation. She's another powerful one that we love very deeply. Her initiation was to be hospitalized for a couple of weeks. so that she could rework her energy. And her first thing, she's sitting there saying, oh no, I'm a failure. Oh no, I did something wrong. Oh no, you know. And the truth of the matter is, this is a higher initiation. Allow it to happen. You know, if we're looking at this weekend and we're looking at the initiate Christ, was his purification easy? No. Read about Holy Thursday and Good Friday. Nothing easy about it. But we knew after that, and he told them, he said, now have heart when I go through this, and know that afterward I will be resurrected in greater power. And so again, practical spirituality, whether you're facing or someone that you love is facing a huge challenge, they are going through an initiation, a purification, that maybe with your love and support and mirroring back to them saying, have peace in your heart. Ultimately, this is for your highest good. And like we've been doing with some of our community members that are going through a really hard time, is saying, hold my hand. And there's someone on the other side and there's someone behind you. Let's walk through this together. And I'll keep reminding you that this is for your soul's freedom, nothing less. Now is the time. Now, and this morning we had a service with Barbara Martin, Easter. Last Easter, she brings in the holy ones, we get a blessing and there's a message. This morning was off the charts, but last year, the Lord Christ came in and said, I am coming soon. And I'm not talking about Jesus the Christ, I'm talking about the office of the Christ consciousness, the great logos, and the great consciousness. This year, Dimitri reminded her of that because the great ones were there, and they said, is it soon? And they said, not now. It's got to be later. Why? We haven't done our work. 2012 was a big year, but it wasn't big enough. So, there was this, I've talked about it before, there was an actor who, during the elections in November, put out an ad. And my kids couldn't believe I loved the ad. What was the name of the actor? It was Samuel Jackson? Samuel Jackson. And the ad was, wake the F up. And then he get, this intense bad guy, black face, he'd just keep getting in the camera and going, wake the F up. And they'd make another point. You know what? I just want to stand on top of the soul of yoga and say,
she loved it.
I loved it. Because it made you do that, just that.
I loved it too.
Yeah, we watched it a couple of times. Like, go, Sam, go. So, this is our Easter message. And I dare Ron to put it on the internet.
Right there.
He's always looking for a title. Yeah. Ron chooses the titles. Now's the time. And we'll leave it at that. But whatever you're going through that hurts, or whatever someone sitting next to you, or who sleeps in your bed, or who is living in your house, or works with you is going through, it's a message to you to wake up. Wake the up. I like that. Yep. I like that, DP. Wake the up. And the last thing, I do want to tell you one more thing. The Holy One still did tell Barbara to tell us that this is a time of service. Reach out. And I've been getting that message for the past week, and I wonder if you have too. So now is the time to forget the self and be there for everyone else who is, whether we're all being shot and killed in some way, our lower nature is being annihilated. Let it happen. Let's wake up and love and support one another and honor the journey, because the harder it is, the greater, the closer you are to the mountaintop. Done. before I get into any more trouble. Oops, where's he going to go now?
No, I'm going the other way now.
Okay, save me.
No, when I heard the news, you know, you get better at processing stuff as you go along. Hopefully, you're training your consciousness. You know, every little meditation, every little moment where you just take a few breaths and have a positive affirmation, right? I mean, those things is like bank. It's like an investment in your soul account. And then when something heavy, seemingly heavy, emotionally heavy, comes into your life, you can write a check right then and there from that account to, you know, have some clarity, perspective. Yeah, you're feeling it. Yeah, you're you know, maybe crying tears, but you have enough grace, I guess, grace to pull back the lens on the darn thing, and then to point the lens directly into oneself. Into oneself. So I did that. I was sitting in my car just an hour after I heard the news, and when I did that, you know, I so felt this guy's presence. I felt John's presence, and it was so one. It was so one with the presence that I practiced attuning to anyway. So then there was no difference between him and the present. And I just got this message. And I thanked him profusely. John, thank you. I know there is, you know, your passing this way is a gift for so many if they choose to see it that way. And you know, I can't tell you how many times I've rededicated myself. I mean, every day I rededicate myself to the spiritual path. It's not like one time when I took vows or one time when you do your wedding vows and that's over. No, every day I rededicate myself for the search of truth. Every day I give my heart back to the divine. Every day I see everyone in the divine. So, you know, I've been investing in my soul for many, many years. And what came to me on this one was the biggest hit ever. Was the biggest hit ever to invest everything in the spiritual path. Because my soul said, from the gift from John to me, going out that way that he did, I said, that is enough. In other words, that is enough for me to dilly-dally. And I don't really dilly-dally, but I still do dilly-dally. You can't help it under this veil, you know. It's just so all over us, right? With distraction and temptation and who knows what else. But I just made that new covenant. It was the best ever. It felt so good that I said, John, thank you so much. That's the dearest gift, believe it or not, that anyone has ever given to me, which is the only reason that you and I would do anything in life, would be for the betterment of all, right? And I recommitted to the spiritual path, and it hasn't been a moment since that day. I don't know, 2 days, 3 days ago.
Since Thursday, yeah.
That I have not been in my heart ripping it out with love. Because you know what made these great ones great? Yeah, they did have big missions, some of them are existing now in body on the planet. No one knows them. And just silently there's just waves, you know, like tsunami waves of this highest frequency of joy and love coming onto you and me and everywhere just because they're present in the body on this planet. And it's just waves of unspeakable forgiveness and unspeakable compassion, you know, which for me, I can go through and say, you know, I've worked a long time on this quality, but compassion has been my most difficult one. Because to me, what compassion represents is for me to be so given over to the light, so given over to the force of love, so given over to the divine plan and to serving the holy ones in any capacity that I have no thought of me in that. And the reason why now it's ties to compassion, because I realize now, for me at least, that's my standard for compassion. Then and only then, when I am no longer me, but a part of this great consciousness, part of the great love of Divine Mother, part of this unceasing forgiveness, which the universe is, and patience that the universe is, and understanding that the universe is, can I come close to compassion. But when I have given myself completely over to that greater force, now I'm starting to get a sense of what compassion is for all of us. For all of us. Without looking at good, bad, or ugly, without differentiating anyone as better than anyone else. But the whole human condition, that you and I can live in this so-called dream, nightmare experience. Sometimes there's something okay that happens, but generally it's not so good on this plane of duality, is it? That we cannot see it as wrong, as Tricia was mentioned, that shouldn't have happened. Oh, horrible way to maybe die. And whose fault was it anyway? But to see it from a place of just unspeakable love, unspeakable compassion for all souls and for all beings, that you and I can eclipse our true nature in a way that we hide ourselves from love, right? We hide ourselves from the power of our true nature. We hide ourselves from the possibility of real joy, which is our true nature, and to allow it to bubble up. We hide ourselves from the potential that in one lifetime, you know, you think that the Christ, and it is true, and the Buddhas, they had many lifetimes. Well, you don't know how many you have. You don't know how many unbelievable lifetimes you have had to bring you to this point today. And you're just a knock away from the door of your soul. And just a hand to reach for from being in that oneness you don't know. So to me, it's like it's right here, folks. It is like more than ever right here in our hearts. So that deepening that I've had for me in the last 3 days, from the gift from John and from anything else that happens that could shake and rock my boat and turn me upside down and have me grieving for many, many months, can turn rather quickly and turn it into the fire of more deep meditation, the fire of more staying present, driving with complete awareness of what I am doing. Everything with complete awareness with what I am doing. You know, like a walking samurai or something, or somebody who's just like can see behind his eyes, the back of his head, and hear, you know, from a distance, things that no normal person can hear. That kind of awareness, but most importantly, to be in my heart loving. To be in my heart loving, because that's what makes the great ones great. There was this documentary, Mother Teresa, and she was in a war zone area, and there was hardly any water, and she was serving so many people, right? With such quietness and steadiness, and giving each one her undivided love and attention. And she was at a drip. It was a faucet that was just dripping water, just drop by drop. And she was holding a bottle there, waiting for it to fill up to give someone some water. But you can imagine, but you should have seen the look, and you could feel the vibration coming from her, that every drop mattered. That her consciousness to receive enough water to serve the God or the Christ in this other person was her whole consciousness. And then the voiceover at that moment was, it's not so much what you do that's so important. It's how much love you put in the doing. And these great ones become great because that's what they do. They get into their hearts through all life's experiences, brings them into one place. All roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to the heart in here. And this thing can be eclipsed and numbed pretty good, as we all know, right? It can be so numbed that even when we are in our best intentions, and even when we are making the best effort, we get in here and there's no one home. That's okay. That's okay. We won't stop. Now, with lessons like we've learned today, it's like, I'm no worries. No worries. I'm just going to do what I need to do, right? And you get in there and you just bust it open any way you can. Even if it's just to have a moment of your consciousness being still in your heart in a meditation of 10 minutes. Just a moment. You take that and run to the bank. And you deposit that into your soul account. And then you go back the next time and see if that could be a minute and 10 seconds. You see? And if you can get focused like that, then there is no stopping you and me from being our true nature in this existence, because nothing can withstand the force of love. And especially the one who created love can't withstand that when you direct that to the creator of all that is. And the reason why Christ became so great, because he loved the Father of creation more than you and I could ever possibly imagine. For me, I want to love that way. So thank you, John, because you've just upped the ante for me. You just upped my whole level of existence.
Maybe that's why his name was Upton.
Upton. I like that. So does he. And another thing that happened, then I had an image of him dancing in the light. You know, people are crying still, and rightly so, to go through their processes and how to make sense of this and how to turn it into a positive for them. But he was dancing in the light, and so I joined him dancing in the light. And all of a sudden, I took everybody that's involved in the situation, and I just held the consciousness of, really, it's just joy. It is unlimited joy. If you want to know what the Buddha consciousness is, it's unlimited joy in every atom of this creation, and of course, beyond. Not just in creation, but in unmanifested, beyond creation, unspeakable Satchitananda, ever existing, ever conscious, ever new joy. And I can't tell you what a shift that did for me, still as a gift from him. It's almost like I don't want to share that, because people are you were dancing in joy and someone got killed that way? And in my heart of hearts, yes, because as Krishna says in the Gita, no, you can't kill somebody. The shooters aren't killing 20 children. And the 20 children can't be killed. It's all spirit, Krishna says in the Gita. Don't grieve for any created thing, he goes on to say. What? Are you kidding me? You get into your soul, take refuge into your soul as fast as you can. That is the purpose of your existence. And the soul is all bliss and all light and all love. Next time that you have an opportunity, and you don't have to wait for it to be a negative one. You have the rest of this day. You got plenty of sunshine heading your way today, right? Zippity-doo-dah, baby. You're walking, you're breathing, and you're even smiling right now because you are dressed up with joy. Big time. All of us are, and that's a manly. That's the blessings of today, which is really always, but today you get a good hit of it so you can realize you walk in that joy, you talk in that joy. You come to the garden alone, as Teresa started with that song. And to feel that love that none other can ever feel, because each soul can experience that love. So here's the last thing I want to say, and it's often, you might have a concept of this, but it's so key. It's all about consciousness, baby. It's all about consciousness. John's consciousness is still like, can't kill it. No bullet can harm it, because consciousness is part of that soul. And even soul is even beyond that. It's pure spirit. But the soul in the body has a consciousness. And nothing and no one can hurt that. And it is the reason why you have a body of light and energy. It causes it. It's your causal body of consciousness. So your body of energy and light, which gives you energy that you don't usually associate with much either, probably unless you're a healer, unless you've been in the spiritual life for a while. And then that energy and light body gives cause to your physical body. So you're sitting here in three bodies. The most important one is the consciousness that you have right now. And so nothing and no one can stop us from playing with our consciousness today. If we can stop identifying so much with what this body is craving and this body is needing and this emotional thing that just happened, and let's talk about it, and then back to the emotion, let's talk about it, and it's like ping pong, ping pong. You ever see those Orientals play ping pong? And that's the way that our minds usually work. But consciousness can transcend that duality. And the reason why you and I don't really grok that as much as we need to, because we haven't taken a beautiful idea of truth and incubated long enough with a focused mind and a loving, trusting, faithful heart. That's all. That's all. That's how you develop consciousness. You sit and you hold this beautiful idea. A lot of people, comes in, goes out, little inspiration, gone. Right? You go out into the world, and then a day, 2, 3, you're not even in that frequency anymore. But now the message is for all of us. Could you find little gaps of moments today where it's like your last day, that you have said, enough, I am not going to waste all the moments of this day and just letting my mind just be there for nothing. But I'm going to use it. I'm going to put all of me inside of me, and I'm going to burst this heart open and love you and love this thing that I'm doing, love this not so good thing that maybe comes to me or not comes to me. And I am just going to allow my heart to open up to have that divine force that love conquers all, you know, come through me so that I can no longer live in fear of what's going to happen to me. If you knew and know how you're going to go out, right? And you saw that now. God gave you a gift, said, look, hon, if you continue to be and think and act and behave exactly like this and eat these things that you're eating, this is where the bullet of your karma is going to take you. Boom. And you saw this thing called your exit from the physical body. Whoa. And pretty or not, would you then take matters into your own hands and say, wait a minute, if my thoughts and actions and feelings and beliefs has created that, why don't I choose a better destiny for myself? I could start today, as Yogananda said, live each present moment fully and completely, and the future will take care of itself. If I'm living in this present moment of love, if I'm right here, if I really care about you to awaken that compassion, if I've learned anything at all from the tragedies of my many lives and the tragedies that I see around me, could I just be present moment by moment today so that I am consciously creating a new reality for the end of this life? A new reality for the end of this life. Honestly, it's not set in stone unless you are still going to remain asleep and not wake up. So will you make a pact with me for John and the millions of others that have left the planet, whatever way they've left, and whatever other suffering people are still owning and grieving and letting it overwhelm them? Can we make a pact? That's enough. That's enough. And then sweetly go within and develop the most intimate relationship between you and the Father of this creation and the Father of you and me, until it just turns into unspeakable devotion and heart-bursting love. Knuckles? Knuckles. Thank you, John.